Coming at you live from all over Ohio. A Cleveland Browns podcast full of laughs, rants, fun, and stats. A place where all Browns fans' voices are welcome and heard. A show that aims to inform and entertain you. With your hosts, Jacob, Nick, and Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Barking Browns Show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Al Bubba Baker episode 60 of the Barking Browns Show. I am your host, Jacob, at Roachism13, joined by Mr. Ed in Columbus and guest host for this week, Mr. Andy Manchin. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
I'm smelling. It looks like a dog chug takeover. That's what it looks like, a dog chug takeover. And Andy, you ain't got the powers over me this week to mute me and tell me to shut up. And I bet you some of the audience probably wishes you did, but not tonight, my friend. But catch us tomorrow, Dog Chug, presented by Offsides Network, and we're going to do our thing. And, yeah, floor's all yours, Andy.
Well, I'm excited to be supporting stand up.
Oh, no!
Mac the Buffalo. He's one of my favorite guys on Browns Twitter. He's awesome. He's the man, and I just support him with the shirt. I love wearing it. Feels good. Mac,
it's an ugly shirt.
It's down with the okay. All right. So guys, let's do a little bit of housekeeping and we will jump right in. Mandatory minicamp did start today. Deshaun Watson spoke for the first time since his introductory press conference. We're going to have full reactions and thoughts to both the press conference as well as some of the clips and some of the factoids. Nick had some car trouble, so he will not be with us this evening, but he will be back.
He's on assignment. He's on
assignment. Yes, he is on assignment. So over the weekend, I did a Browns mailbag over on Dog Pound Daily. I answered 5 questions from Twitter, including what would it look like if the Browns had to start Jacoby Brissett for 17 games. Nick, Ed, and our audio-only pod over the weekend, which you can find on all major podcasting platforms, was about Jacoby Brissett starting all 17 games. So that is over there on you can find that over there on that platform as well. Next Friday, I am told that a massive mashup is coming.
Huge.
I can't say much, but it's coming next Friday night, 9 p.m. You won't want to miss that. That will be a lot of fun. So, guys, let's jump all in. Everybody that's comment, subscribe, all those buttons. Rate us on whatever you're listening to us on. Tell us what you got to say, what you think. Tell us where we are right, where we're wrong, all of the in-between. We're very, very happy. As I always say, the most valuable thing you can give someone is some of your time. Thank you again for giving some of your time to us this week. We have a great show. Gentlemen, let's jump right into it. All right, so we want to talk about mandatory minicamp. We didn't know when, but we knew Watson would eventually talk to the media again, right? We weren't sure when it was going to come, but it finally comes today on the first day of minicamp. After practice, he comes out and he talks to the media. I don't know, it was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. It was a very relatively short. He said, this was funny. I said to somebody, he didn't say a lot, but he did say a little bit more than I think he originally was going to say. So I thought that was really interesting. And Andy, we had a conversation offline about it. And that was part of why I wanted to bring you on this evening, was your thoughts on Watson's presser. And then I'll get Ed's as well. So Andy, if you just let us know, I know you listened to it. So what were your takeaways from what Watson had to say today?
First of all, I just want to say this is such a sensitive thing to talk about, obviously.
Yes.
Literally, you're going to offend someone no matter kind of what you say. Ed, you told me not to be a cuck tonight, but I do want to point out that I very much, before I say anything, that I very much support the women's right to be able to, go through this process. Anyone that stands up to their accuser that takes a lot of courage. I don't know what happened, obviously, but I support their right to do this process. I also support his right to fight these cases and everything. I was very disappointed when he talked the first time that he kind of just came off like I didn't do anything wrong. That seems so absurd. I think anyone with a modicum of intelligence can understand that, like, he put himself in a bad position. I think this whole case comes down to ultimately, did he proposition women, which if he did, that's still a crime and that's still bad. But I don't think it's something that you lose your career over. Or did he actually get to the assault? When the girls said no, he kept pushing. And, obviously none of us were in that room. We don't know. And if we learn that it did kind of get into that territory, that's kind of where I'm just like, okay, forget this bum. I want him gone. Let's move on. But I'm not sure that happened. What I was excited about today was he sort of backed off the comment that I didn't do anything wrong, and he sort of stuck to, I didn't assault these women. I think he said he didn't harass these women. And maybe that's a very subtle
He also said, I didn't coerce them.
Coerce them. That is a subtle distinction, and I don't know, like, I still don't feel great about that, but at least he's sort of acknowledging. I know this legal team has sort of pivoted to say, like, okay, some sex may have occurred, which thank you, because anyone with half a brain understands that like he went to these massages most likely looking for it to turn X-rated, and I think a lot of football players and a lot of people, frankly, do these kind of shenanigans. And again, I don't condone that. I think he put some women in some uncomfortable positions, and ultimately, I'm glad he at least is coming off of saying that I didn't do anything wrong. These women are all lying. Like, so that is the first thing that I appreciated. And then two, he did kind of acknowledge that he might be doing some counseling that the Browns are offering. And I think it's very important in this case, because I think this is a young, entitled, immature person who really didn't know right from wrong in this instance. So I would really feel better if he did a deep dive and kind of understood where he may have crossed some lines. So even if he was just saying it because he was supposed to say it, if he is doing counseling, at least it shows that he's working on himself on some degree, and I fully support that. And that will help me reconcile this guy being the leader of our football team.
And I know Ed has got some thoughts and he's rear and ready to go, but I kind of want to jump over him because of the way you kind of put it out there, Andy, and I just kind of wanted to build off of that. I said somewhere today, I said, I liked that he talked because he hadn't, and it was deafening, and we wanted to hear from him, even if he didn't answer anything, which is why I was kind of impressed with some of the things that he said. I don't think it means much because it's a press conference. We say that over and over and over and over. It doesn't mean much, but kind of something that you said, Andy, kind of struck with me. It feels like maybe there's progress. Maybe he's working on who he is. Maybe he's not going to publicly come out and say, I have a problem, because he feels like he's innocent. So even if he does, I do think that. I think he thinks he's innocent, and could be potentially a problem, right? As if he thinks he didn't do anything wrong. But kind of like what you talked about, Andy, it kind of did feel like he backed off on that. Yes, he maintained his innocence. He's not going to say he has a problem because his lawyer's going to be like, well, don't say that because you'll lose the cases. And while there's pending litigation, he's never going to ever, unless he has to, like it comes out in court, I don't think he'll ever, quote unquote, admit to anything like of what actually occurred in those rooms, other than maybe what he has done in the depositions. And we've seen and heard some of those things been leaked. So I don't know that because he thinks that he's innocent to some degree. He doesn't think that he assaulted them or coerced them. I do think that was, maybe this was all completely by design from Harden and it means nothing, maybe. But I felt like a step in the right direction, because I had this conversation with somebody earlier. Right or wrong, I don't think the NFL bans him forever. And I'm not saying I agree with that necessarily, but he can play football, and they have video of people beating the crap out of people, and some of those people are still in the league. So the NFL doesn't care enough to get rid of him. And I'm not saying that they should. I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't. I'm not getting into that because I'm not going to pretend to know what happened. But he is going to play eventually. I don't see the NFL taking a stance unless more evidence comes out. So he will play at some point. So you've got to hope that he can be what Big Ben was, right? Ben has this situation, and he seemingly became a good person. The NFL is going to let him play at some point. That's reality, right or wrong. That is what they don't care. The NFL doesn't care about women. Like, I'm just saying, on some level, I think we all know that. So he's going to play at some point. If he is going to play, and I'm going to have to watch him play, I need to know that, for one, this will never happen again. I need to know that he understands that even though he may not have meant to hurt these women, that he did on some level. I think and I think this felt like a step in the right direction, but ultimately it was a presser, and it could have been completely scripted. And that's my thought. And that's probably too much.
Couple of things that I want to say. First of all, you said that he thinks he's innocent. I think that's probably true, but there's two things going on. One, regardless of what Deshaun Watson thinks, he can't say what he thinks because he's being told by his lawyers what he can and can't say. I think there's a pretty good chance once these cases get settled, you might hear him change. He might all of a sudden be able to show a little bit more remorse, because if he shows it now, it's going to be used against him. So he has to be very careful with what he says. Secondly, the problem with this case is the media's coverage, I think, has been a little bit irresponsible, and there's been a lot of outrage. And again, it comes down to me. If he came in and said, "Hey, wink, wink, this is what I want," and the girl said, "No, this is not what I'm about," and then he said, "Oh, okay," zipped up his pants or whatever, I don't think many people in the NFL care about this story, if that's what it was. And again, we don't know that. He thinks innocent from people saying that he continued, being aggressive, that he, got grossly out of line to turn in that direction. And again, I don't know if maybe some exaggerations are going on to make this more of a case. Because, look, when you have a 24 case trial and more people are apparently coming on, there is a lot of, hey, this is how you should word things so that it has the maximum effort, because we want to make our case as strong as possible. So if you say it like this, it's, we might be hung out to dry. But if you say it like this, that puts us in the best case to get maximum payout and make him pay. And I want to say, I think masseuses probably deal with this a lot as far as coming out. Yeah, and I don't want to diminish this at all, but this is, one of the negatives, I think, to being a masseuse is that you have to deal with these douchebag guys that think this happens. And believe me, there's probably masseuses that it does happen. My point being, it's irritating. If you're someone that's not about this, every time a guy tries to aggressively turn this into something X-rated, I'm sure they get irritated as hell when they get home and they pop that line open that they're drinking, because that was a really uncomfortable, awful experience. So to actually get the chance to go make someone pay for that, even if it didn't really bother them that much, it didn't make them cry the way they cried or whatever, of course they want to make him pay, because that's their right. They shouldn't have to deal with that. It's not. I live in a society where it's that's okay, and that everyone that's a masseuse gets treated like they're a sex worker. That's horrible. So again, I support their right to, even if I think they're making the case stronger with their words than it actually is, they have that right, because he put them in a shitty situation potentially. And if that's the case, then go after him. That's the way I see it. So I just said a lot.
Yeah.
I think we need from Ed.
Yeah, we need to hear from Ed.
Don't worry. Just having little family squabbles right now. Daughter got her license. She's 16, obviously. And she got back from her job. She's a lifeguard. So she got a job. She got her license. And doesn't take the attitude away sometimes, but that's life. Thank you, my friend.
Ed.
That is, and honestly, pull the curtain back. Natter Days right there. I support them, and here's why I support them. I met Andy Manchin for the first time. To all our Barking Browns fans out there, Dog Chuck, check us out. But we're family, and we got something, little family reunion coming up. Jacob kind of alluded to it earlier. That's all I'm going to say. I think you can connect the dots. But so, pull back the curtain a little bit. Chugged a Natter Day, and Andy says I don't chug a lot, and because he says taking shots at Fireball's not chugging. He's technically right, but I get technically drunk, and there's two winners right there. That's how I look at it. So that's always good stuff. And Andy, I did it also, to go back to your statement earlier. I wasn't going to use that term, but I did say, Andy, I know you're coming on tonight. Don't be a cuck. And what I meant by that is there's a lot of takes that I hear on Brown's Twitter and everything, and I just feel like it's it's one-sided, and it doesn't really matter what side it's coming from. I'm not trying to get into what side you're coming from. I'm just saying, when you come with a one-sided take, you're being a cuck to the situation, and that's what I don't like. And Andy, your answer, my friend, was nothing cuckish about that, because you presented the facts. And same with you, Jacob. Look, here's the thing: we don't know what happened. Look, here's the thing: if I think the Cleveland Browns are going to win a Super Bowl in my parents' lifetime, and they happen to be 73 years old, I'm really going to need Deshaun Watson to work out. So what happened today was he met with the media, and I was glad to see that he actually said a little bit more words than what. All he has to say was it's a legal matter, and I respect you guys, but that's all I'm going to say. He didn't say that. He said a little bit more. He brought a little bit of himself. And look, I think the guy's a great guy. When it comes to, see, they're going to use that. They're going to clip that one real quick and say, oh, Ed Columbus says he's a great guy. And then, no, not so fast, my friend. He's a great guy in the aspect of with his teammates. And I believe in it within the community. I mean, he has, and Andy, you said something about, I know I'm kind of rambling on here, but everybody else was, so I want to follow suit here. But you made mention of a story of, and it was brought up today about he went to the movies or something, and there was some popcorn being distributed and stuff like that. So there seems to be a general liking between Deshaun Watson and the patrons of the Cleveland Browns that live in Northeast Ohio in the community that he's going to be a part of. So I like that. So your answer was great, Andy. And I want to see that him succeed. And I don't know what happened. I hope it didn't happen in the way that, the plaintiffs are alleging. But at the same time, I can't judge one sin over the other. Look, I know people get mad about this when you say it's not the same as Kareem Hunt. It's not the same as Kareem Hunt. It's not. It's absolutely not. And Kareem Hunt has been a great Cleveland Brown. And I believe he's made up for what, allegedly, what we saw he did. But at the same time, why is it that even if Deshaun Watson did what he did, why do we have to condemn him for life? Like, I mean, because to Andy's point, if he really did something, he can't say anything now. But if he settles with the plaintiffs, I think it's kind of like an admission of something went awry. And then I think he could come out and say, you know what, I have a sexual addiction. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So we're so willing to forgive other, sins. But maybe we won't know. And that's the thing. I guess my whole point of this rambling was we don't know yet. Stop fighting on Twitter. You don't know what side you're going to be on yet because we don't know what happened yet. How can you be on the side of he's this, but you don't know what he did? Just let it play out, people. It's only going to be a couple more weeks before the NFL comes out with something. And these cases that he's either going to settle or he's going to fight him one-on-one. I doubt he's going to fight him. Let's be real. So we're gonna get some finality there. Until then, I don't know. I wouldn't pick a fight if I didn't know all the facts. Stop fighting. Just stop fighting, people.
All right. We will wrap this up and we will move on to some other things about OT.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just said sorry for my rant.
Sorry. One more thing I wanted to add, whatever. Today, he came out and spoke, and then the lawyer, Busby, came out and made a statement about his little presser, which is ridiculous. Why everyone has to comment every time someone talks publicly is part of the problem with this case. But anyway, in his little message that he released today, he said, let's see, that he hopes that Watson can at least attend some form of counseling, as that would be a step forward. When Watson actually said, I'm doing counseling. So I got to ask the question, how good of a lawyer is Busby that he can't even...
Yeah, that he can't write.
He barely listened to the whole press conference and then
he very well could have typed it together and thrown it in together.
He said he listened to it and then he had this whole thing about it, that this is a material fact that Watson said. So one of the things that I have held strong is that, we want to believe the women, we want to believe Watson. At this point, it's a trial, and there's two lawyers that I don't trust very much to really go after the truth. I think they're just trying to win their case, and we're unfortunately pawns in this whole thing because they're using our emotions of this case.
Yeah, I agree.
To wage war against each other, and it's an unfortunate thing because we're hounding over every word in detail, but I don't think a lot of it is really representative of fact. Which is when it gets to court, that's where it'll be facts.
Yeah.
So
and I'll say one last thing that was very interesting to me, and then we'll move on and we'll put this to bed. I do want to say that I want to be very clear that I want the truth no matter what it is. If it's that he is 100% guilty, I want it. If it's that he's 100% innocent, which I just can't see a world where he's 100% innocent, because there's just too many. Like, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and sounds like a duck, it's probably a duck. So, like, something happened. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to take sides. I want to know what the truth is. I want it to be fair. And I just want it to be whatever it is. So I want to find out. The one thing that I thought was really interesting is that he said that teammates can ask him, essentially he said teammates can ask him anything they want about the allegations, about, like the way he made it sound, it was like as these reports come out, like the New York Times comes out, or, as these things have come out and more lawsuits have come, he kind of made it sound like if they come to he's like, they can come to my locker and ask me the question. And I'm sure he can't like just straight up be like, yeah, word for word, this is what happened, things like that, because it would be really stupid. I thought that was kind of cool, for lack of a better word. Like, I thought that was nice that he was like, yeah, like if they want to know what's up, they want to know about it. And, because they want to know about the person that they're in, working with every day, I'll let them know what's going on. So we need to stop attacking each other over stuff that we don't know what happened. So like, I definitively want to say that in my rant earlier, everything that I've said about this, everything I feel about this is, at the end, I'm not going to pretend to know what happened because I don't. So let's move on towards some other things about minicamp today. And then we have our favorite one-hit wonders and a couple more segments for you guys on the back end. Let me go over here real quick, though, and catch up because we got some comments as it relates. Warden, you'll always be number one in my heart because he says that I am better than everybody else that is on here. So MC Lawrence asked where the beer was, but I know Andy later showed where the beer was. Mitch needs to know if Ed is going to bust a move. Is he going to bust a move? There it is. There it is. We got to move. Busted. This is my favorite part. Apparently, Zach loves Ed more than Ed loves Ed. I didn't know that was the thing.
It's not. Well, you know what? Honestly, I accept that sentiment. I think he's a great guy, and look what Andy's wearing. I mean, what I'm saying that Andy is anti-Ed. I mean, I don't, but you know what? Keep your enemies close. Keep your enemies close, because All
right, to set the record straight, I love Ed.
It's not true.
This is an interesting.
You would not have worn that shirt.
If the Texans get added to the the chance of settlement goes up, the NFL will protect its brand no matter the cost. I actually think that's 100% accurate. I think that there is a definite chance that and it hasn't happened, but Busby says it's going to happen, that he gets added. That one was like, because if this is true that they facilitated that's sickening.
At that point, this is ridiculous. They've got nothing against the Houston Texans. This is literally just Busby's attempt to make it look like, oh my God, he was such a scumbag. He was even doing this in their facilities. This is going to go nowhere. They're never going to file against the Houston Texans. This was just a PR scam to like get people more riled up, get us more angry, so that it puts more pressure on Watson to settle.
I understand that. I just like I said, if it does happen, that's interesting. Okay, let's talk about minicamp, some other things. This is something that I wanted to talk about because I keep seeing this, and then Cameron Justice has said it now multiple times, and Hayden Grove said it. They said it's in the 5 times that they have seen practice, so that they have been in person for practice. I think that includes rookie minicamp. David Bell has zombie. Oh, he's doing the zombie dust again. All right. In every practice that the media has been present, David Bell has not dropped a football. And there's been some passes that were drop worthy, quote unquote drop worthy from some of the things. So guys, what do we'll go to you first, Andy. Is that what you expected? Are you shocked by that sort of information, or, what's that make you think about David Bell?
I'm excited about David Bell, and that's a really cool thing to read on Twitter. It gets us fired up, but ultimately I don't know that I care too much about that. I mean, there's not really there's no hitting. There's no guys aren't really covering David Bell like he's going to be covered. He's catching footballs, which is something that me and Ed could do with each other pretty well. So am I super excited about that at this point? No.
Okay. I like, in Warden, a couple people, some comments in here. David Bell's going to go nuts. I think he's going to get a really high volume of passes this year. Well, one thing they asked Cammie, I saw her talking on Twitter, was if he was creating separation, right? Like, that's the thing, the athleticism, the speed. That's what we're wondering. Yeah, the zombie dust. They asked him, is he creating separation? Is he being athletic? And she said he's creating plenty of separation, and he's making those contested catches. So he's going up, making those hard, difficult catches, creating separation. He's doing some of these things they said he couldn't, that were his knocks. Again, it's against, a lot of times it's against air. It's no pads, things like that. But I do believe that in multiple days that two people that have been there, nobody has noticed him straight up drop a pass. Like that feels relatively significant to me as the things go on. So what do you think about that, Ed?
Well, I mean, it's better than sounding like an NBA game with the ball's hitting the ground there. You know what I'm saying? So any time that they were saying back when Brandon Whedon was the quarterback that a lot of the reporters got to Berea and you just come back and like, I've never seen so many footballs hit the ground before. So the fact that he's catching the ball, I mean, wide receiver, that's what he gets paid to do, catch the ball. But honestly, I like the kid coming out of Purdue. I know the knock on him was getting the separation between him and the defender. But here's the thing. He might be one of those guys where he's never going to be able to get away from the defender like you would want him to. Maybe his game is, he because I watched a lot of those highlights, and I'm obviously in the Big Ten and being an Ohio State Buckeye, but you're right. He never got too far away from the guy but he always caught the football. And maybe he's just one of those guys, and some basketball players are like that, the ones that still want to play the game the right way and get into the block and stuff like that and get down low and catch that, that pass. So he kind of reminds me of that guy where, lull you because he's not worried about that breakaway speed. And then he catches the ball. It's a beautiful thing, actually. And the kind of routes that he runs, that we were talking about vertical on Down with the Browns with Mac the Buffalo. And I see that, sure. But Mac knows football, too, a little bit. I don't want to give him too much credit. So earmuffs, everybody. So that's why I think David Bell, he's going to be really good. So, and I like what he's doing, and the ball's not hitting the ground. And, yeah, because, right, if the ball hits the ground, Jacob, I know the rules haven't changed because sometimes, the rule changes happen before the next season starts. But so if quarterback throws the ball and it hits the ground, that's no good, right, still?
Yeah, that's still the rule.
Okay, and the fact that he's catching the ball, that's a good thing, right?
That's a good thing, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to get overly excited, but guess what? When we we're Browns, we're fanatics. I'm excited as hell. Let's party.
Hey, you want to know what excites me? Oh, name to watch from Cameron Justice. Mike Harley Jr. is really impressing in terms of separation. He's been zipping around.
Check it out. Check this out, Jacob. I saw him. He caught this nice touchdown. But did a little toe swag, too. He got a little some little action after the touchdown. So watch out for him.
That was actually a really, really beautiful ball from Jacoby Brissett.
I know.
That's on that particular play that you're talking about.
Yes.
You want to know the second thing that keeps catching my attention, and I feel so freaking lame about it. And I was talking about a couple of people about it, but my God, every time I see just a video of Cade York nailing a field goal, he'll nail that field goal, and I'm just like,
that ball. I've never seen a kicker drive the ball like that. Like it's awesome. The thing is,
yeah,
it's just like a lightning bolt.
It doesn't move a lot. It just
no. It's just going straight through. Not like a high arc. It's very exciting. I think
when he hit that 60 last week, I was like,
it's hard to feel good about a rookie kicker, but I don't think I could. I feel very optimistic that Cade York is gonna be good.
I have my beef with Cade York, but I wish him success. And this goes back to the dog. But I will say one thing to your point. I don't know why we don't get more excited about kickers. Like when we see this, this Browns porn, but coming from the field goal position, field goal kicker position. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand that. Like what? Like it scores points. When the ball goes through the uprights, you get points, and that's what you're trying to do. And I don't know why that position is so undervalued. So I'm ready to party. So we got David Bell not dropping passes. We got our field goal kicker, and like Andy says, driving them hard through the uprights. Now that's some porn right there.
That's how you battle Cleveland weather, by the way. You kick that ball as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're remiss to say last time Nick was on assignment, the three of us did the Barking Browns, and we did a draft, and we were all talking about picking free agent kickers and drafting free agent kickers. I'm glad it worked out. We drafted a good one. I'm excited to see him play this fall.
Amen.
It's really interesting because you used pretty good capital on a kicker. Like, we had this conversation. A lot of people don't want to use capital on a kicker at all. I thought that it was better to use it on a punter because I thought the punters were a little bit better. Because Cade York was the only one. It was Cade York and Cameron Dicker who ends up. Cade York, I believe, was the only kicker drafted. I know there was like 4 or 5 punters that were drafted, but if I remember correctly, Cade York ends up being the only one. And for me, it was like he didn't have a ton of field goal attempts, and that's why I was kind of like hesitant on it from a pure, draft overview and looking at that sort of thing. The last 2 years, he hasn't missed an extra point. And just thinking about that part of it, you're like, listen, he ain't missed an extra point 2 years. And he's kicked over 30. So, like, people are like, well, did they only score like 15 touchdowns one year? And I'm like, that's a valid question. But it did not happen. And I'm just saying, go right now, you sit there, and I know 2020 was a good year, but you think about 2021 and 2020, just think about not missing extra points and just tell me if any of those games are different.
Is there anything more annoying than when you're celebrating a touchdown, an amazing touchdown, and
they miss the extra
you're
point?
Still celebrating, they miss the extra point, and you're just like,
and now it's 7-6 instead of being tied.
I hate that. I don't like that.
That's what comes back and bites you in the ass in Green Bay was the kicks. Just make the extra point, and we're talking about trying to win a game, not trying to tie it or take the lead. You're trying to when Baker throws that 4th interception, it potentially is tied there, or you're winning because I believe Blewett missed an extra point.
He blew it.
It was Blewett, right? Or was it Nagar? It was Nagar, wasn't it?
It was Nagar. Yeah.
It was Nagar.
That's the one we don't say that. That's the one we're told not to say because it could.
No, we're allowed to say it if we say it right.
Yeah, I guess that was the point of it. But that's the thing. I'd rather say, yeah. So we'll just go with Blewett. He blew it, even though it wasn't not him. It was the other guy.
Blewett was my favorite. Is though my favorite kicker name of all time. Just like I was a Cincinnati Reds fan for a while, and we always had the pitcher Homer Bailey. Which is
Homer Bailey, yeah.
And that's not his real name. But that's what he went by was Homer Bailey. I was like, it's the worst name ever for a pitcher.
Homer Bailey knew how to beat Pittsburgh. Homer Bailey had 2 no-hitters, I believe, and I think they're both against the Pirates. So.
He actually had.
I might be wrong. So come after.
He had a no-hitter, and then he threw a no-hitter the next year, and he had the 2 back-to-back no-hitters in baseball. There was no
in baseball. That's correct. Yes, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, there was no no-hitters in between outside of him. So
Reds After Dark will be on after this show. Reds After Dark with Jacob Roach.
That's not. I don't watch baseball anymore. It's not on my TV.
Okay.
Somebody yelled at me for not watching baseball and talking about Browns in June. So we've got people hanging out because we're degenerates. Andy, Ed, do either of you have any more takeaways from – it was kind of overshadowed by the Watson stuff, so I don't really have a lot more from Minicamp today, but does anybody else have any comments?
Must have been hot out there. Must have been hot. Hopefully stay hydrated, guys. Going to need you come to the fall. I got nothing else.
Just excited to see them on the field. It's we're getting close, right? What are we, 13 weeks?
Yeah. I think we're 90 days. So we're around 90, but we might be under 90 days. I'll tell you what, who looked good, like in physical shape. I thought Jed Wills looked physically healthy and in good shape. I thought just from the images, obviously he's not in pads. He's not really blocking anybody, but I thought, just from the eye, like what you're looking at, he's like, oh yeah, look, Jed. I think Jed will have a really good season.
Christian doesn't like me for this.
Doesn't?
But Christian, Mac and Christian hate me because I say, look, I go after Jed Wills and I say this. I'm sorry, Cleveland. I'm sorry. You may not like me for this take of the Joe Tom. I like football players to actually touch the football.
I want to add something about Jed Wills because my seats, Jacob, you have sat in them, are right behind the offensive line where they sit and everything. And I spent a lot of time watching him. he was so injured last year. Every time he would come to the sideline, he just looked miserable. He wouldn't talk to anyone. He would sit down. He would limp most of the time. I had no idea why Kevin Stefanski was even continuing to play him, although
he's a warrior. My bad, Jed Wills. You're a warrior. Sorry.
But I think a lot of the bad sentiment around him, if he stays healthy this year, I think we're all going to see a very different Jed Wills. Because
if you go watch in 2020, some of the run stuff was so-so, but if you watch some of those pass sets from 2020 in his rookie year when he was learning a new position, there was some teaching tape from Jed Wills in 2020. Go watch some of the way, who has the greatest leg kick of all time is Joe Thomas, and you could see a little bit of that in the way he set his hips and he got down into his foundation and kicked his leg out from Jed Wills. It wasn't Joe, you know what I mean, but there was a lot of like, hey, these are how you teach fundamentals for pass sets in offensive linemen with some of the stuff that Jed Wills did while he was learning a new position. I think Jed will be perfectly fine over there. All right, guys, let's move on to our favorite one-hit wonders, and I'll go first so that everybody is copying me. My favorite one, it'll be Peyton Hillis for me. Dude, I was in a Facebook group. I was in high school when Peyton Hillis was a big thing. And when I was in a Facebook group that was just called Peyton Hillis's Arms. It was just a picture of his jacked up arms because they were just absolute bazookas. And he gets on Madden. He was a fullback. People forget that, like, they traded for him from Denver, where he was a fullback that, yes, sometimes carried the football, but he was a freaking fullback. And we were just like, it was Mangini, right? Was Mangini the coach during his 1 year, during his successful season? Is that right?
Was that Pat Sherwood 2012? So was it, or whatever? Wasn't it?
It was.
It would have been Mangini.
No, it's 20. It was bench. Was it 2020? Was it 2020?
Either way, whoever the head coach was, they were like, "Hey, let's put him in the backfield." And then it was just like, I remember him running all over both New Orleans and New England to get victories that year. And like New Orleans and New England were like playoff teams, and we ran all over them and doubled them up. And he ends up like scoring a touchdown to make it like 34-17 against New England and put it away. And it was just an amazing season. And then the next year he like got the flu and like
it was Mangini. Yeah,
it was Mangini.
Yeah, 2010 was Mangini, and 2011 was that Sherm? I think that was Pat Shermer. So
yeah. So either way, Peyton Hillis is my favorite 1 year wonder.
Go ahead, Andy. Good.
Well, I just got thrown this idea maybe, 40 minutes ago. So I'm sorry if my answer is a little generic. I couldn't go Peyton Hillis. Ed Spencer would have been my number 2. So I'm going to go with Derek Anderson.
Yes.
He was I was so excited. We stole him from the Ravens practice squad.
Yep.
We threw him out there after we cut Charlie Fry. And
they traded Charlie Fry was so bad he got benched and traded the next day.
Yeah, you get your ass whooped against the Steelers and you get sent packing. Derek Anderson came in and was just, it was a cheat code. He could throw a touchdown every play to Kellen Winslow or Braylon Edwards. They would 40 yards down the field. It was so exciting that year because I remember in the stands, you would see the football in the air. You would see Kellen Winslow wide open, and you knew it was a touchdown before the ball peaked in the air. And every time it was, unfortunately, by like week 11, I think the NFL realized you just have to like play more safeties and
protect against the deep ball.
He had no ability to throw like a 10-yard pass. He was awful. Yeah. He had one move and he exploited for like 10 weeks in the NFL, and it was a very fun 10 weeks. So he wasn't even a 1 year wonder. He was like a 10-week wonder. But
he makes the Pro Bowl. He throws 29 touchdowns, but he also
he makes the Pro Bowl because like other people said no to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. He had a fantastic year. Can't take anything away from him, but he would never be able to duplicate it again because once the league figured out how to defend him, he could never adjust.
He was so mad when he got cut. He was like, Cleveland doesn't deserve a winner.
My dad went to the game in Cincinnati when he threw the 4 interceptions. That like really
would have sealed the playoff berth if he had not done that.
Yeah,
they still almost won that game too.
I know it's 19-14. Yeah, I know. It was windy outside. They were chucking the ball around 50 times that game. They should have ran the ball, but interception's an interception. But my guy, and I want to say this too because I know we were talking about Peyton Hillis. 2010, 2011, Mangini, Pat Shurmur. That's, you know what I'm saying? So we got to give some facts, and I slipped up on that one. But my guy's going to be Ben Gay. Put some ointment on me because I'm messing up tonight. Ben Gay, running back from Garden City Community College, and he captured the hearts of the Cleveland Browns fans in the year 2001 when the Cleveland Browns went to Baltimore, and they put a whoop into him. And I know Ben Gay reached the end zone in that game, and it was a beautiful thing. He really didn't do much at about 172 yards that year and averaged 3.4, but because he went to Baltimore, because, you know, that team that, you know, left and everything and the Art Modell stuff, and we finally got those rat birds. So Ben Gay, you're my one-hit wonder, and like I said, I may be applying more ointment later.
We were making fun of the Ravens so bad that year when we stole Ben Gay from them. I remember being in so many chats, just constantly making fun of them. Like we had just found we were going to get to Super Bowls behind Ben Gay, and then it turned out he actually wasn't very good.
Yeah,
like
there was a reason you had gotten him.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Edward, it is time for your go for it. So lay it on us for the week.
Okay. All right. Now, obviously, I saw a nice, beautiful ball by one Jacoby Brissett today. But here's the thing, guys. Let's be serious. This Cleveland mentality, if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for the season, gloom and doom. Doesn't have to be gloom and doom. I see that defense as a top 5 defense. I see a lot of good studs on that defense. I see a lot of good studs on the offense. I just need a guy not to, because the whole argument last year was if we just had a serviceable guy, somebody that just didn't F it up. Well, I think Jacoby Brissett could be that guy. But if I'm Jimmy Haslam, I don't want to give up on this season. I don't want to give up for my mom and dad, who's 73 years old, who I mentioned earlier, on a chance to win the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna call up the San Francisco 49ers. And I know the G spots right now at the Progressive Field where the Guardians are playing. And you know what? Shout out to my Cleveland Guardians. You're doing your thing. Let's get us to September. But the G spot's going to be with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo at First Energy Stadium. And you know what, guys? He's a good-looking quarterback. I don't know why I said that. He's just a good-looking quarterback. But you know what? You know why I said that? Because people knock him. They say he's not that good. He's not that good. All I know is he wins. Could have won a Super Bowl MVP if the guy don't drop it. So my thing is this: go for it. If Deshaun Watson gets suspended for the whole year, you picking up that phone and calling San Francisco and saying, "Give me Jimmy G."
Andy, it's all yours.
To make this question make sense, what are we paying to get Jimmy G?
Yeah, that's the question. What are you trading?
I'm gonna do some magic here. I'm gonna give him a 3 tops. Maybe
third round,
maybe
pick.
2, 3. Third round. That's because I think he's honestly. I think there'll be some teams that'll want him or whatever like that. I think because with multiple picks, you're not going to beat him because if somebody offers him a 2nd round pick for him, they're going to win that. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to do that. So my thing is I'm going to entice him with maybe 3 number 3s of some kind of sort. I'm going to hit him with triples. You know what I'm saying? But because that's how you're going to have to win in a package. If a team values 3 3s over a 2 and a 5, I don't.
If I'm taking his whole contract, I'm maybe giving him a 3. I'll give you a 4 that can be a 3 if he wins.
Okay, that's fine. Well, my point was this: I think a lot of times you hear speculation of, you know, because San Francisco's probably, you know, I'm sure the media outlets are saying, "Oh, I want a 2 or 3." You know, that ain't going to happen. I'm to Jacob's point. My thing is just get him in. It's not going to cost. How about this? It doesn't cost you much. How about that? Would you do it then?
If it doesn't cost me much, yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah,
I'm in. Andy's like doing all the calculations.
Deshaun Watson's your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward, it's just a 1-year rental to try for a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Okay, so I mean, he would be an upgrade over Jacoby Brissett. So fine.
Yeah,
then
that's my thing. Yeah.
Then I will take it, but I don't think he's going to cost more than not much, and I will not pay much.
See, that's the thing. I think that to Jacob's point, I think like Jacob when it comes to, I don't want to really offer him much, but to your point, Andy, I think like you do, because I think San Francisco, I would ask for at least a 2 and something else. He's for any competing team out there, you put Jimmy Garoppolo on it, you're gonna probably make the playoffs. I don't know. Are you guaranteed the playoffs with Jacoby Brissett? I don't know, but if Garoppolo stays healthy, that's his problem. If his health, but if he stays healthy, I trust him with this Browns roster to go to the playoffs. I mean, they did it with the 49ers, and they were,
my gut is if he's suspended the whole year, this isn't going to be a year we're thinking Super Bowl if we have Jimmy Garoppolo or not. So ultimately, we've already given up a ton of draft picks. I don't want to give up more draft picks to like chase.
I don't want to waste a year.
Well, we're not wasting a year. We're not wasting a year because the Browns have a great defense, a great running game, and I think Jacoby Brissett can win you. Excuse me, a injured Baker Mayfield that like was in like the bottom 5 quarterbacks, right? Starting quarterbacks, statistically 28 games. So if a healthy Jacoby Brissett's here, maybe you still can get to the playoffs.
You got me, Andy. You got me. I'll leave it at this. He's so beautiful, Jimmy Garoppolo. I only want him because he's good looking. Obviously, Andy feels the same way. He's getting choked up. Get Jimmy Garoppolo because he's eye candy.
All right, guys, let's go to Perrion Winfrey. We're going to talk a little bit real quick here about Perrion Winfrey real quick, and then we will do top 5 chain restaurants to wrap it up. So real quick, I just want to give some stuff on Perrion Winfrey. It's been beat ad nauseum, but we're doing one prospect each week. We are down to Perrion Winfrey, and it's very clear why Perrion Winfrey actually slides to the 4th round once you watch his tape. That's 4th round tape. The Senior Bowl was 2nd round tape, maybe 1st round. If you can find a way to get Senior Bowl Perrion Winfrey, buddy, sign me up. He's got a relentless motor when he wants to. A lot of times against in the run game, there's a lot of effort issues that I had there. It seems like he's playing out of position while he's at Oklahoma. There's not a real big plan as a run stopper on how to attack. He plays kind of high, and which kind of gets him driven out a little bit and things like that with the bigger offensive linemen and things like that. But if you can figure out why he was what he was at the Senior Bowl and you can get that, that is a steal in the 4th round. He was an absolute menace. He clearly, you see the pictures pictures of him and like things that he's doing going on, and things like that. It's like, this dude, he has a killer mentality on the football field. Like he's a pass rusher. He had little to no run defense at Oklahoma, but he tossed dudes at the Senior Bowl. I mean, tossed them, and I get it. You got to figure out why. But Chris Kiffin, I really think Chris Kiffin is a good offensive line or defensive line coach, and you get him in there with Perrion Winfrey. He's got to be more refined as a rusher so that he can be more consistent. That's his issue, man. He's not consistent. His tape is just not consistent. Sometimes his pad level, it's not consistent. It's an issue. He can be driven back, but he's strong. He's athletic. And when he wants to, his effort and mobility plays really make up, because there's times where his motor is relentless. I call him a relentless pass rusher when he's in that situation. He is a situational rusher right now because he has got to develop the other part of his game. It's just not there as a run defender. But he's got the size, he's got the strength, and he's got the athleticism to be a really, really good tackle. And I think as a situational NASCAR rusher, I think he's going to be a problem when Miles and Clowney force people to step up. If the Browns defense ends up being top 5, Perrion Winfrey as a situational rusher will be a major part in getting them there. Gentlemen? Anybody?
Well, I'll say this. Amen to that, because I've always liked that. I've always liked Perrion Winfrey. I think he's going to be given like Oprah Winfrey. You get a sack. You get a sack. You get a sack. Talking about Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, because I think he's going to fill that defensive tackle position in a way that hasn't been filled with the kind of energy and passion. Because I think the defensive tackles for the Cleveland Browns up this since '99. Let's be real. Teams up the middle, 130 yards. That was usually a given. The Ravens used to slash us with Jamal Lewis, and that got old. And then Pittsburgh would do that, and it's always the middle of the defense. And I think Perrion Winfrey, I think he's the kind of guy that you're either a dog or you're a pup. And I think he's going to make some more dogs out of the defensive line. So
he's got the mentality, man.
He's got that mentality. He wakes up and, he's him. I'm me. And I think it's going to be a fun season.
I love you, Ed, so much. You're the best.
You know what that was right there? That's what that. I wanted Andy to get a little preview of how I'm feeling this week because I'm feeling a little saucy.
Wow. If you just didn't have such a racist T-shirt, I would absolutely be buying your shirt. And by the way, I thought about buying your shirt, but you had bought them all out yourself, and there was none left available.
I love Columbus, Ohio. I think the shirt is one could say that looks like Benjamin Franklin. We're in Franklin County. That looks like Benjamin Franklin. And another thing too, Andy. Yes, I did buy them all out. But you know, I love me.
Yes,
I love me
buy
me,
them
and I'm
all
not going to apologize.
He's like, yes, I did. He didn't even try to lie. He's like, no, I did that.
I'm not going to
Can
lie.
we take a break, please? Is it Franklin? Is it Benjamin Franklin?
Yes, we actually have a big statue in Columbus and in the courtroom or whatever, the courthouse of Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, Franklin County is named after Benjamin Franklin.
Dude, this is a really good one. MC Lawrence, one-hit wonder, Jerome Harrison, 286 against the Chargers.
Didn't we have a game where someone went off against the Bengals week 17? Would have been 2005-ish.
Was that Lee? I think it might have been Lee Sticky Suggs, as I called him, from Virginia Tech. Had a big game against. It was like right. Against the Bengals. Yes.
Yeah, because it was Lee Suggs was in that room with William Green after William Green was kind of falling off.
That's right.
Lee Sticky Suggs. I won't say why his name's Sticky, but it's another issue.
As bad as our team was, why did we have so many like breakout running back games?
Yeah, we've always been able to do something on the ground. It's just
because we had no quarterback. The running backs had to do something.
You remember Ben Tate? Man, I thought Ben Tate. Oh, I thought that was going to be.
What about Chris Obanaya? Chris Obanaya,
yeah. I can name a lot of really obscure running backs.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go to top 5 chain restaurants, and we'll put a bow on this thing, and we will get out of here for your episode 60. Note. Go over to my profile at Roachism13 on Twitter, pinned at the top of the page. We have a charity fundraiser for the charity Save the Children, which helps underprivileged youth get resources and meals and education and all kinds of things in 200 of the most poor communities in the United States. If we hit our fundraising goal, Ed, Nick, and I will do the Hot Ones Hot Sauce Challenge live here on Twitch. That, for what it's worth, the one chip challenge that I did was 1.6 million Scoville. The hottest sauce on that is over 2 million Scoville. So there's that.
Ooh. I'll have plenty of this.
Wait, you acted like you never wanted to do that again. Now you're going to do it again and even worse?
For the children.
Wow.
For the children.
Can't you do like a 5 beer chug in a minute or something?
No, because that would kill me.
No, we're not psycho like you are.
That would kill me. Top 5 chain restaurants, guys. I'm so excited for this. There are some on here that I think people might be a little bit surprised about me, but let's do it. We're going to do it off the top. I will start. Number 5 is Taco Bell. Now, as I have gotten older, it is rough. It is really rough. I have to pick and choose the times at which I can go to Taco Bell because I have to be okay with being in the bathroom for the next 24 hours. But as a child that was, growing up in high school, in college, there was a Taco Bell. It was always open, just always open. You could just sit there and bullshit with the people while you're in line. You're just going up there at 2 a.m. to get your Crunchwrap Supreme. But you know what? Taco Bell, it put me through a lot, but it was always there for me. So Taco Bell's number 5.
All right.
I'm going to go number 5, McDonald's. And here's the reason why. Because you got this restaurant, and when you're a little kid, it's like Disney World of food places. When it, the fries, the Happy Meals, some of them had playgrounds, which most of them took away because that's what we do in this country. But that's another thing. Take the fun. I love the stuff. Okay, Andy, please. And also the McDonald's, obviously, because my dad sold his car back in 1984 to Ronald McDonald up in North Olmsted. So shout out to Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald's, the charities, the Ronald McDonald House does lots of good. And McDonald's is my number 5 because I've screwed this whole bit up so far.
All right. For my number 5, I I went a whole year of my life where I said I'm not going to eat any fast food, and it was tough. I'm a big fast food eater, but I did make it the year. But the only thing, for whatever reason, every time I would drive by this restaurant, I would think about their fries, and it was like crack. They clearly are putting cocaine in the fries. I don't understand it because they're not even that good. But I got to go number 5, Wendy's.
Oh,
and by the way, side note, I'm turning my 3-year-old daughter into a fast food fiend, and she loves her cheeseburgers and fries, and I cannot convince her Wendy's burgers are good. She wants McDonald's every time. So Ed, I have to eat McDonald's every time.
sorry.
We're going out.
Sorry.
She will not do Wendy's.
Well, yeah. Well, you don't want to go have your kid eat crack. So that if Wendy's,
so it's good. It's good that you're not taking her to Wendy's.
So
I'm sure there's some fucking nasty shit though in the in the McDonald's fries too.
Number 4.
I cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah. Number 4, Texas Roadhouse. And that is right off the bat. You get in there and you're like, I will not eat a ton of rolls with this cinnamon butter and ruin my meal. And then you do it again and again. And then you have them bring you out a tray of the rolls and the cinnamon butter for you to take home. And guess what? That shit keeps. But there is one of the first sit down restaurant when I came back to the United States was Texas Roadhouse. And that was the greatest steak I've ever eaten. And I'll always remember that. And I do believe that the greatest steak you can get is a Texas Roadhouse sirloin steak.
That's a crime. Jacob, when you come to Cleveland, I'm taking you to a good steakhouse, though. Taking you to Red's.
I'm sure they have a Texas Roadhouse. Mr. Ed.
Well, my number 2 is actually, it's going to be Applebee's, and here's the reason why. Nothing to do with the Browns. I know it's the Barking Browns. So I'm going to go on a little diatribe here. Because in 2006, one Damon Jones hit a 3-pointer against the Washington Wizards, sent the Cavaliers to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, you know what? And the wings were good. And they used to have chicken parm there, which I know that's Jacob and I's favorite meal, chicken parmesan. Applebee's, at least the one in Grove City, had it. And it was a beautiful thing. It was the monstrosity of chicken. It was just, an abundance, gluttonous. And they took it away from me. And but the Applebee's gets my number 4 because
they had. Did you see what they had for a while at Applebee's? They had the Cheetos covered wings.
Oh yeah, I did say something. Yes, yeah. I think I'm
gonna go to Applebee's this weekend. Yeah.
Bring back the chicken parm, Applebee's. I'm begging you. I'm imploring you to do so. You'll get a patron at least once a week if you do it.
Andy, number 4, sir.
All right. And by the way, I have to add, my wife would be with you, Ed. My daughter liked your first choice. My wife likes your second choice. That would definitely be in her top 5. I'm not going to Applebee's.
Okay.
There are times in Cleveland I want a really good burger from, if I have to do it from a chain restaurant, I have to do it from a chain restaurant. I hate everything about California pretty much, but they do have really good burger joints on the West Coast. The best we've got in Cleveland would have to be Five Guys. Their burgers and fries, so good. If I want a burger, that's where I'm going. So that's my number 4.
I never knew what a Five Guys was until when I first joined the Army. I was drilling in Cincinnati over in Woodlawn, and they took me to Five Guys. I was like 19.
It just seems like a hey now.
And they go, yeah, whoa. Hey, did you? No. I was gonna make a Jeffrey Dahmer joke, but it just felt like it was the right time. Okay. Anyway,
I got scared for a minute.
I went in there and I was like, and they're like, yeah, ask them for fries. And I'm like, give me some fries, please. And they just start dumping all those fries in the bag. And I was like, this is the greatest place on earth. It was like 19 years old and you just guzzle nasty, nasty food. Just to answer a question that pops up over where did I go? I was in Afghanistan in 17 and 18. Okay. Number 3 is the place I went. This is a true story. You can ask her. It's 100% factual story. But when I got married, as soon as we got married, we went to IHOP, got some pancakes, went home, took a nap. So number 3 is IHOP. And I just, for the longest time, it was kind of farther away. Like there wasn't one. There's one in Athens now, but there wasn't. And it was like anytime I went in, a lot of times when I would go to like, that was another thing when I was in the Army. I went to Cincinnati. It was the first time I'd had an IHOP, and I had the burger with an egg on it. That was the first time I'd ever had it, like a hamburger that had a fried egg on it. It was like the greatest thing. And it's just like, I will make them lose money when it's all you can eat pancakes. That's all I got to say.
Well, I'm going to pull back the curtain with number, was this 2?
3.
3.
3.
Well, okay, that makes sense. Going to be KFC, and here's why. Kentucky Fried Chicken is what us OGs call it, because that's where I got my first job when I was 16 years old. My dad actually got his first job at Kentucky Fried Chicken, so I don't know what that means. I don't know, but I tell you what, though, I think it's the best chicken. I know people say Popeyes, they say this, they say that, but that KFC chicken sandwich, I swear to God, when it's hot and it's fresh, there's nothing. It's the best. And I don't care if people talk about this, they talk about that. To me, it's the piece of meat. The piece of meat matters, right? The meat matters. And so, and the mashed potatoes and gravy, my God, I don't care what you say. If you don't like KFC mashed potatoes and gravy, there's something wrong with you. You know, get checked.
That's true.
Get your COVID. Yeah. So KFC is my number 3. Number 3.
Wow. Good choice. I like that one. So for my third choice, I wanted to go with a chain pizza place because everyone likes chain pizza, I suppose. I don't know. I always feel like kind of positive, negatives, all of the chain places. I kind of like them all, but I will say the reason I'm gonna name this one as my favorite is because they're the most consistent. Like, I love when Papa John's does it right. It is fantastic. But sometimes you get a Papa John's pizza and it is awful. But the one place that consistently delivers, Domino's. You get the same pizza every time.
It is the same pizza every time. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's factual.
The Brooklyn style is fantastic.
It's like Nick Chubb. It's like Nick Chubb of pizzas. It's the Nick Chubb of pizzas.
Very, very well said, Ed.
Yeah. Thank you.
I should do a podcast with you because we're on the same page.
One of these days.
Did you know that my father-in-law can't have Domino's pizza because it gives him diarrhea? All right, moving on to number 2. Number 2 is Wendy's, baby. I don't give a shit. I love Wendy's. I worked there. Normally when you work there, you don't love it because, you know the secrets. I will never eat their chili. That's all I'm saying. Just take my word for it. Don't eat the freaking chili. Anyway, because I made the chili. I know how it's made. But my God, the spicy chicken.
Chili?
Huh?
Chili?
No.
Okay.
Anyway,
He was excited.
Spicy chicken Asiago Club. Oh, they're spicy chicken. They're grilled chicken. Oh my goodness! I'm just telling you. And at one point they had pulled pork. It was phenomenal. I want them to bring back the pretzel bun of all time because they get the best pretzel buns. You put that spicy chicken sandwich on there and that pretzel bun. Oh my God! Forget about it. I don't give a shit. And the spicy nugs. Don't even let me get started on the spicy nugs. Wendy's, number 2. Just saying.
Love it.
My numero 2 is actually the pizza chain. And I don't really like this pizza because I don't, come on. When I explain what the pizza is, you'll know why. But the number 2 is Little Caesars, now the official pizza of the National Football League. Here's why. I've had lots of kids' parties over the years. I'm not even going to get into how much fun I had or didn't have, and I've made comments over the years, about the kids and stuff, and I love them. And Andy's got one on the way, and I just sit back and laugh and think, you made one, you did one thing. I won't call it that thing off the lake that the nickname of Cleveland is because I don't want to call kids that, but that's what it is. But here's the thing with Little Caesars here, it's cheap, it's good, it's on my way home. That's all I got.
Is that it? That's the whole. It's cheap. It's good. It's on my way home. All right.
Yeah.
You could get a large pizza for the price of a Patreon.
That's yes. But some of my greatest marketing was from that.
Our good friend Jeff over here. I took my girl to Steak and Shake, and now we're married with a 10-year-old. That's freaking awesome. That's awesome.
I hope you like your kid. I hope you like your 10-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. Has anyone said Arby's? No.
Arby's was so close to making my list.
Yeah, that was
Arby's. I will say this: it's not on my top 5, but it's criminally underrated.
It is.
It is.
The curly fries, come on.
Oh,
hey.
And then they had these the potato cakes. You ever had them? The potato cakes? They're like little triangles. Oh my god.
Nope. All right. Number 2 for me. Look, I love Italian food. It's my favorite food, and pasta. Like, fuck me. Give me as much pasta that I love.
I know.
And I would say just any chain Italian restaurant can go fucking suck a dick. Awful. One Italian restaurant that I like, because if I get a plate of pasta from this place, I am sweating when I leave because you just get so much. It's so good. They do family style. It's phenomenal. Maggiano's. We used to have one in Beechwood. They're gone now, but that would be my favorite chain Italian restaurant. I gotta eat chain. That would be the place to go. Number 2.
Okay, number 1. This place, it's always there for me. It's always there for me. It's Chipotle.
Oh.
It is Chipotle, and I would do Chipotle every day of the week.
How many days are there, Jacob?
A lot.
Okay.
There's 7.
What is like? I don't even.
You're so analytical, Andy. It's just can you just.
I love it. I love Chipotle. It will never. It was the first meal. Like, it was the first thing I wanted when we got back. When we got back into the States, I said the first sit down restaurant was Texas Roadhouse. The first meal I had back in the United States was Chipotle, and it was now I want Chipotle. It's. I can't. I'm speechless. I love Chipotle.
That's a good answer. You know what? And God bless you for your service as well, Jacob. But my number 1 is along the American Mexican foods that encapsulate the heart of this country. That would be Taco Bell. Let's talk about Taco Bell. A lot of times, 4th meal hit. 4th meal is not when you're at your, probably I would say, at your peak optimal performance.
No.
Your cognitive abilities may be decreased. Your motor skills may be diminished. But when you eat that Taco Bell, just like one Josh Gordon, who's probably on the same stuff that you're on, you're feeling like a champion. You're marching down the field 80 yards looking back with your burrito in your hand, and you're saying, is there more? Is anybody got any more? Touchdown. Taco Bell.
Oh my God. Where is this Ed on the dog chug? This is amazing.
You know, honestly, I want to say this. Seeing you tonight, Andy, is freaking me out. I'm going into dog chug mode, and nobody's stopping. Jacob, what are you doing here? You got to rein me in here. You got to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm. This is crazy. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You are doing a phenomenal job tonight. Ed bought all the Ed and Columbus T-shirts. I would go buy one right now.
Yeah, well, I can get you a special one made, or you still got a problem with the character on the front of the shirt?
No, I'll buy it. I just won't wear it in public. It's fine.
Okay.
All right, my number one. Stupid. These restaurants used to be all over Cleveland. Now I think there's like 5 left. From Kent, Ohio. It's not even good food. It's just the biggest menu, and there's something I've been everywhere I've ever.
It's not even good food, but it's number 1.
No, it's not particularly good. But they've got such a big menu, and everywhere I've worked, there's been one of these like 5 minutes, and we used to go all the time. I just have so many fond memories. So I'm going number 1, Rockneys, which you guys probably have never even gotten to eat at.
Like, is it like Newt Rockney, like the coach Rockneys?
No, it's just Rockneys, and it's just pub food. It's fantastic. It's awesome. Their fries, they're like carnival fries. And they're so good.
Oh,
and
well, you can take me there when I come up. So.
Absolutely. There's like 5 left, I think. So, yeah, we'll go down to Streetsboro. We'll hit it up. We'll call Vic. It'll be fun.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, we really, really appreciate. Oh no, I'm sorry. Apparently, Oh no, that's it. Zach says that he loves it, but. Jeff says it's terrible.
It is decidedly terrible, but it's a place I love.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. The Faithful Dogs will be live on this channel sometime this week. I think they're shooting for Friday, and this weekend we will be back with another audio-only version of the podcast. I think we have a good plan planned out for it, but I'm not 100% sure on who our guest will be and if it will just be me yelling at the guys again like it was last weekend. So anyway, we appreciate all of you for joining us and all the support that you give us day after day, week after week, even though I am a hot mess lately. So thank you guys so very much. And you know what? You stay classy, San Diego.
Go Browns!